This is a tribute to one of the greatest accordionists of our time, Daniel Desiderio. Our story starts in the 1930s during the Great Depression. In these difficult times, music warmed the hearts of many, and young Danny was no exception. One memorable Christmas morning, his dreams were fulfilled when he received the instrument he had longed for, an accordion. Dan's first teacher was Arnold Crow at the Desiderio Conservatory in Philadelphia. Since his accordion was too heavy to carry at the tender age of 9, every week he wheeled it on a wagon to the bus stop for the trip to the city. No matter whether it was raining or he was sick, young Dan never missed a lesson. Under Mr. Crow's capable instruction, he rapidly became proficient, and after 4.5 years he had completed all of the courses offered by the conservatory. Soon he found himself commuting to New York for lessons from Desiderio himself, the daddy of the accordion. Pietro was impressed with his abilities and hard work and predicted a bright future for Dan as a concert artist. During World War II, Dan was too young to join the armed services, so instead he volunteered for service with the USO Entertainment Corps. And in June 1944, he flew to London with John Garfield, the movie star, to entertain our overseas troops. While still engaged in USO work, he traveled coast to coast playing at leading hotels and theaters. While in California, he played with the famous bandleader Harry James and also met celebrities such as Betty Grable, Shirley Temple, and Tyrone Power. He was a featured musician on radio broadcasts and sometimes performed with his brother Albert Jr., a trained violinist. Back home, Dan studied harmony and musical theory under Dr. William Hoppich of the University of Pennsylvania. In fact, it was at Penn that he entered the Cultural Olympics, a competition begun in 1937 to pick the U.S. champions in music, arts and crafts, literature, drama, and the dance. In 1946, at the age of 16, he marched into the tryouts carrying his accordion. The judges, having evaluated numerous students of piano and violin, didn't know quite what to make of him. But to his surprise, once he got started, they allowed him to play through his entire piece uninterrupted, unlike the other performers he witnessed. Then one of the judges asked, "Young man, can you play anything else on that thing?" To which he answered, "Sir, this thing is called an accordion, and I can play lots of other pieces on it." He proceeded to do just that, and went on to win their award of highest commendation. Taking this prize afforded him the opportunity to perform as a soloist in Philadelphia's Academy of Music, and thus began his lengthy concert career. In 1948, Dan graduated from St. Thomas More Catholic High School. That same year, at the age of 17, he was the featured guest artist at Philadelphia's Academy of Music. The pretty girls were overcome by his accordion wizardry, not to mention his good looks. He was much in demand as an accordion soloist and set an example for students of all ages. He also began his recording career on the Amco and Cormark labels, including the challenging Concerto in D by Desiderio and his own charming composition, Mexican Carnival. Dan went on to write and arrange numerous pieces for the accordion, from classical to pops. He also contributed to the Duet Yourself series of sheet music plus phonograph records, providing a complete accompaniment for the accordion soloist or singer. During a performance in Chicago, Dan was discovered by Colonel George Howard, commander and conductor of the United States Air Force Band, who happened to be in the audience. Colonel Howard was delighted to learn that Dan had just enlisted in the Air Force and promptly arranged for him to join his elite band, where he served from 1951 to 1955. Fortunately, the Air Force allowed Dan to continue performing at important events, such as this 1952 concert of accordion legends in Manhattan. Although he was based in Washington, D.C., He toured extensively in Europe, playing solos in some of the world's greatest music venues: London's Royal Festival Hall, Copenhagen's Radio House, Munich's Congress Hall, and Edinburgh's Usher Hall. Along the way, he performed for many dignitaries, including President and Mrs. Eisenhower at the White House. After Dan's contributions, the Air Force Band would forevermore include an accordionist. After completing his Air Force service, Dan returned home to pursue his lifelong dream of opening his own accordion conservatory. His wife Lorraine taught beginning students while he provided advanced lessons. Dan continued his concert career as time permitted, with regular performances at the shore and at accordion conventions. In the meantime, he was becoming more renowned as a TV and radio star. His fame spread around the world, as illustrated by this Japanese accordion magazine featuring Daniel Desiderio on its cover. His concerts inspired young accordionists, and his own students collected many competition trophies. The pinnacle of any musician's career is a performance at New York's Carnegie Hall, where Dan was a soloist in 1958 and again in 1966, shown in the photo here. His 1966 performance was with the United States Navy Band, conducted by Commander Anthony Mitchell, and also featured accordion solos by his friends Carmen Carrozza and Lee Diro, as well as his idol Charles Magnante. Starting in 1985, Dan served as conductor of the Accordion Pops Orchestra. The orchestra's roots can be traced to 1970, when it was organized by the Accordion Teachers Association of New Jersey. Its first conductor was Dr. Jacob Newpower of Philadelphia, followed by Eugene Attore of Livingston, New Jersey, and then by Maestro Desiderio. Consisting of up to 30 accordionists plus percussionists, the orchestra is the largest of its kind on the East Coast and includes members from Connecticut to Maryland. Most of the members are professional musicians or teachers, but the orchestra includes amateur accordionists as well. One of the orchestra's percussionists, Doris Heck, also performed with him in the Hal Kelly Quartet starting in the early 1970s. Over the years, the orchestra has featured well-known guest artists such as Myron Florin, Dick Contino, Mario Tacca, Gelso Pellegrini, and Carmen Carrozza. It has been a source of great friends as well as great music. Now let's take a look at some of Dan's memorable performances with the Accordion Pops Orchestra over the years.
Please welcome our conductor, Dan Desiderio.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I'd like to thank you for the wonderful reception you're giving our orchestra. You know, we really enjoyed that applause. That was great. And it's so nice to see so many of our friends here and colleagues, and it's really wonderful. Lee Diro has always enjoyed some of my violin compositions I did, so it really is too long to do it in its entirety, but what I'm doing is a medley of, first of all, La Capriceuse, which is by Edward Elgar, and I'm going to do some variations on the Paganini 24th Caprice, and I guess I'll wind up with La Zapateada, which is a Spanish dance. I hope you enjoy it.
And here we have a very special performance by an accordion virtuoso from Russia, recruited by Dan to play with the orchestra. Dan teaches students of all keyboard instruments. Here is a performance by one of his former students, Aaron Doherty, playing Grieg's Piano Concerto with the orchestra.
One chance to play, I have to do it all at once. It's always fun playing along with this guy because we never get a chance to get together. In fact, we didn't even get a chance backstage to do this, so it's right here, right now, this moment.
Listen, Rick, I haven't done that for years. What key is it in?
If you like.
Dan is always willing to help. At an Accordion Pops picnic in 2004, he and Carmen Carrozza convinced Charles Nunzio to strap on an accordion to play Jolly Caballero. But Charlie was worried about the bellows shake part. And at the age of 91, that's perfectly understandable. Maestro Desiderio to the rescue!
Hello, Charles. There's the music. You know the music, don't you? Here it is, right over here.
This is it?
That's it. Okay. He even wrote the arrangement for the orchestra, and he's looking at it now. Oh, Mike, okay, it's all yours.
I forgot which one, what number it was. All right. 1, 2.
Now will you please welcome our conductor, Maestro Daniel Desiderio.
Good afternoon, everyone. Before we start, I'd like to say a few words. First of all, on behalf of the orchestra members and myself, thank you so much for inviting us back. I hope that you will enjoy our program. We have a very diversified program for you. The first number will be a little lengthy, but we're going to lighten up as we go along. So we're going to start out with on Suppé's Poet and Peasant Overture. Thank you.
Dan always liked to have the orchestra end its performance with an uplifting medley of patriotic songs named Americana, arranged by the maestro himself. It was always a great crowd pleaser.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We certainly enjoyed playing for you. You've been a wonderful audience. God bless you all. See you again. Thank you.
Of all the places where the orchestra has performed, Philadelphia's Kimmel Center deserves special mention. Since 2004, the orchestra has given a series of 4 concerts in this impressive facility for the benefit of the ALS Hope Foundation. The 2010 concert featured the world premiere of the second movement of Dan's own Concerto in D, performed by the maestro himself. In 2011, Dan retired as conductor of the Accordion Pops, passing the baton to longtime member Al Tirzo. In June of 2010, Dan's friends and relatives gave him a surprise 80th birthday party. With a bit of persuasion, he was convinced to strap on his accordion and play a few numbers for everyone. Let's conclude the show with a series of Dan's publicity shots taken over the years and leading up to the present, along with actual reviews of Dan's concert performances taken from the press.